2 of Huda's interview, and this is about the father of her daughter. She starts off by saying she met him on Tinder when she was 18 years old. Because her mom was very strict on her, when she turned 18, she actually moved out so she could have her freedom. She moved in with 2 other girls and she was going out and living her life. At the beginning of her relationship with the father of her child, she said it was very, very lovey-dovey. She said she really liked him a lot, and it's really obvious when she likes someone because she'll go from 0 to 100. They were moving very fast, but he was cheating on her. And yes, she was very young, but she said the goal for the relationship was marriage. She talks about going on her first big vacation. It was to Puerto Rico with her sister, and then said she remembered she had his location and she was checking it. And she said at that point he had cheated on her so many times and she kept taking him back, but she was young and naive. While checking his location, she was asking him where he had slept the night before, and he said his place, but she was also asking his friend, and the friend said that he had slept at the friend's place, and that's when she knew. In the middle of that conversation of asking him where he was sleeping, she gets a DM from a girl. And she said, "My intuition never lies, and I'm getting pictures of them in bed together." It took a lot of convincing for him to get her back, but she did go back because, again, she was naive. She also says, "I never really had a good example growing up, and I never had anybody who could guide me." And especially at that time, she said she really truly believed in the Disney princess fairy tale. She then talks about how there was a point where she was at a party and she wasn't feeling right, and she was telling his friend that she thought she was pregnant. And then she threw up the Taco Bell that she had just had. She goes home, she tries to get a plan B, and then says, "Why don't I just buy a pregnancy test since it's cheaper?" She says they're in Walmart, she uses the bathroom, she pees on the stick, she puts it back in the box, and then they go to the car to see the results. She opens it, it says pregnant, they're both in shock and they're both crying. At that point, they were breaking up, getting back together, he got deployed, they were fighting all the time. And even while she was pregnant, yep, he was still talking to other girls. But after finding out she was pregnant, she never went to the OBGYN, she never got checked, she just went on about her life. Eventually, she moved back in with her mom, but she never told her mom because, again, her mom was very strict and very religious. She said at one point she got too big to hide it from her mom. Her mom was saying, "Oh, you know, you're getting a little chubby." And at that point, she called her mom to her room and she told her, "I have something to tell you." Mom starts listing stuff off like, "Did you hurt someone? No. Did you do substances? No." And then gets to, "Are you pregnant?" And she starts crying. She said her mom sat there and looked at her and just said, "Don't sin twice." And that's when she knew she had to keep the baby. And once again, she was back with the father of her daughter. They moved in together, but she was stressed out. She said, "I was breastfeeding all the time. I'm a stay-at-home mom. My daughter was very colicky, and she just couldn't take hearing the crying anymore." And she said, "I understand he was in the military. He worked a lot, but this is a team effort." They had agreed on taking shifts at night with changing the baby's diapers, but a lot of times it fell on her. And even if she would ask him, like, "Can you help me?" he would just tell her, "You do it, you do it." And when he would come home, he would tell her, "Let me shower, let me eat, let me play video games," and then he would try to help her. But she clarified he was a good dad. He was there for her. He did all the fun things, but the hardship fell on her. And that's why the baby challenge triggered her. She realized this wasn't going to work romantically, especially because on top of all of that, he really wasn't good with his finances. And that's when she realized, is this what I want? And as she got older, she became less naive. At that point, they were always late on bills, and she said it was dangerous because she was doing Instacart and bringing her daughter with her. And on top of all that, she would still give him the money that she would make, and they would somehow still be late on rent. At one point, he was leaving for deployment, and she said they had 30 days to move out, and she had never done that on her own, trying to find a place to live. She said nothing was packed. I had to do everything on my own. Eventually she did, and she put all his stuff in a storage room and let him know that he had 2 weeks when he came back to figure his stuff out. And she said, "What kind of man leaves you with all that?" And I wanted better for myself. It was hard to leave, and she would cry every single day to herself saying, "I hate this. I hate my life." At that point, she was almost 21. We now get into part 3, which I will be talking about Love Island and, of course, Jeremiah.